A very good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Crown Palladium for the 2011 Sport Australia Hall of Fame. Once again, the greats have gathered, as they do every year, to honour those who've taken their sports to the highest level. It is one of the glittering nights on the Australian sporting calendar, and in front of close to 1,000 guests, a small group of men and women will be honoured by their induction into the Sport Australia Hall of Fame. We will honour champions past and present, look at the great moments in our proud sporting heritage, and a little later on, name a legend.
Thank you, Stephen. What a pleasure, and welcome everyone to the 2011 Sport Australia Hall of Fame Induction and Award Dinner. Our members represent 200 years of Australian sport in this country. We have actually over 500 members, both from the world of athletic endeavour, sports scientists, sports journalism and administration. Now, ladies and gentlemen, it's my great pleasure and honour to welcome from Etihad Airways, Mr. Kramer Ball.
Our partnership with the Hall of Fame is further demonstration of our commitment to Australian sport and the community. We like to align ourselves with winners. Our goal is very, very simple, is to be the best airline in the world.
It's time to begin our induction ceremony for 2011, and joining me from Fox Sport, it's a delight to welcome again Sarah Jones.
The first of our inductees tonight would pave the way for so many young women as they successfully make that transition from sport to the media.
The women's 110 yards backstroke.
Auckland, 1950, and Australia is there for the 4th British Empire Games. Among the 8 women on the swimming team is Victoria's Judy Joy-Davies. A trailblazer in the pool, she would become the doyen of women's sports reporters in this country over 34 years. Tonight, this veteran of 9 Olympic Games as a competitor and reporter is honoured as Judy Joy-Davies is inducted into the Sport Australia Hall of Fame. Our next inductee, like Judy Joy, made the now traditional step from player into sporting administrator, and what a step it was. After a successful career as a player and coach, Lorraine Landon turned her energies to administration, first with her local Bankstown club, then on the national stage with the Sydney Kings and Flames. She managed women's basketball teams at the 1984 and 88 Olympics. At Sydney 2000, she was competition manager for basketball and for wheelchair and disability basketball and rugby. Tonight, a magnificent career is honoured as Lorraine Landon is inducted into the Sport Australia Hall of Fame.
Well, next, a young man who was multi-talented to say the least.
Swim 2.4 miles, bike 112 miles, run 26.2 miles. Brag for the rest of your life. So said US Navy Commander John Collins back in the mid-70s. The sport of triathlon is now one of the world's most popular, but no man did more for its growth than Greg Welsh. The young man from Sydney became a legend in the sport at all distances. To start at the end, it all unravelled one day during competition.
Well, yeah, it was 1999. I was leading the Ironman, and just all of a sudden my body went numb. I can tell you now, because I know, my heart rate was 320 beats a minute, and they told me if I wasn't as fit as I was, it would have killed somebody instantly, as a lot of people would know in this room, being educated, you know, in the medical field. So. But they said I had a heart like Farlap, so that was pretty good.
Next, a young lady who is batting down the list tonight. Normally she'd be taking on the new ball. When you talk of the greats of women's cricket, one name is always at the very forefront. Belinda Clark is a giant of the Australian game, both as the finest batsmen who have represented this country and as a past player nurturing future generations. What had begun in the backyard like countless thousands of other aspiring Test players, Belinda would go on and set a raft of records. She would become the highest run scorer for this country at Test level, and in 15 matches averaged close to 50. It was in the one-day game that she excelled. 118 appearances, 500s And in 1997, she became the first player of either sex to score a double ton at the elite level, as she smashed 229 against Denmark.
The great thing about World Cups is that you play against some minnows, and unfortunately Denmark was on the receiving end of a thrashing that day. But it was just a wonderful opportunity. We were in India, and it was a warm day, and it was just fantastic. The team got over the line.
Well, our next inductee is surely one of the most colourful additions to the Australian sporting scene. He came, he saw, and he conquered.
Everyone can make your own destiny. Every person can make their own destiny, and that's what I've done.
13 years after beginning his amateur boxing career as a 9-year-old, Russia's 5-time Soviet and 3 times European champion finally became world champion in Sydney in 1991. It would begin a love affair with this country that would see him rise to become one of our favourite adopted sons.
On to centre stage once more, multiple world boxing champion Kostya Tszyu.
Kostya, you came to Sydney back in the early 90s to fight as an amateur. What made you decide to stay?
Simple reason. Because I came to the best country in the world.
And speaking of multiple world champions, how about this young lady? 7 times ASP Women's World Champion. What more does one need to say? How about the most successful female surfer of all time? Better still, how about the surfer with the greatest number of consecutive world titles, male or female? Whatever criteria you choose, Layne Beachley is one of Australia's great athletes. Tonight, Layne Beachley is honoured by her peers as she is inducted into the Sport Australia Hall of Fame.
Our next inductee is no stranger to batting last. In fact, he made an art form of it.
He is the most successful fast bowler in the history of international cricket, with 563 wickets from his 124 Test appearances at the miserly average of 21.6. And along the way, he became the first Australian quick to reach 100 Tests. His line and length were immaculate, and his hunger for wickets legendary.
It's out! Got it! And McGrath's got it! It's a leading edge, straight up in the air, and that's a hat-trick.
He is the greatest fast bowler this country has produced. Please welcome Glenn McGrath, and to make the presentation, his captain and teammate in so many tests, Mark Taylor.
Good evening, everyone. The winner of the Don Award is Cadel Evans.
Cadel Evans changed the sleeping habits of a nation as he became the first Australian to win cycling's greatest prize, the Tour de France. To announce this year's legend, it is my great pleasure to welcome a great friend of the Sport Australia Hall of Fame. He is the Minister for Indigenous Employment and Economic Development, the Minister for Social Housing and Homelessness, and the Minister for Sport. Would you please welcome Senator the Honourable Mark Arbib.
Thank you, Stephen. It's now my pleasure to introduce our newest legend of Australian sport.
Ladies and gentlemen, our 2011 Sport Australia Hall of Fame legend, and she is a legend, Catherine Freeman.
You became very famous.
Yeah, I still can't quite get my head around that. I probably should at some point, shouldn't I? But I certainly do recall there being an army of media. There was a pack of media surrounding me on my way to the start of my second race. However, I was just so focused, and I very much eliminate all causes of distraction like that. And again, I was there to run, and I've always been a runner first and foremost.
Do you enjoy the limelight?
What do you think?
I think I know the answer. You're very shy. I don't think you do.
No, I don't. I think that's probably one of the reasons why I was able to focus so much, because when I ran, I very much had that feeling of escapism, and I felt quite untouchable as a runner.
Look, Kathy's been a big part of the Sport Australia Hall of Fame. She won the Don Award in 2000. She was the Laureus Female Athlete of the Year. She's been the only person to be the Australian Junior Person of the Year and also the Australian of the Year. Black Caviar's won 14 straight. Kathy, between 1996 and 2003, won 22 straight, got injured, lost a race, and won 24 straight after that. Black Caviar's got some catching up to do. What a legend she is. We love her.
Ladies and gentlemen, our legend, Catherine Freeman.